78% of suicide rates worldwide are men. What can we do to help them? Provide more opportunities to form communities and activities that cater to different men's needs. A lot of us don't have friends or intimate platonic relationships, and we're in desperate need of that. Next story. Not turn them away when they tell us what they're struggling with. Oh my dog, this blew up. Anyway, I'm so sorry to everyone who posted here sharing their cases of being turned down. I hope you all find someone who is going to listen and help you. Next story. Compliment them, even if it's something small. Wow, that's a nice shirt, it looks good on you. Your hair looks nice today. A girl complimented my nose 4 years ago. Weird, I know, but I still remember that compliment. Next story. Give us one compliment. Just one. A girl once said I had really pretty eyes. That crap was 7 years ago and I remember it perfectly because it's all I've gotten in 7 years. Next story. Although we are allowed and encouraged to be open about how we feel or think, we can't. If something is a genuine problem and we verbalize it, the reaction is almost always others jumping down our throat as we have no right to complain, or mocking as we have supposedly been living privileged. It's become worse in recent years as we literally have to tiptoe around while being blamed for everything generations before us supposedly did. Most men alive today had no part in anything that was done to others. We were born into a different world where we have always been on the back foot, yet carry a lot of the blame and stigma from things we had nothing to do with. I'm expecting this post to get mass downvoted purely for openly saying what I personally live and experience. We don't talk about that crap because it gets hammered back at us, so we shut the F up and just keep going until we break. Then everyone is like, oh, you should have said something. No, we shouldn't, as it just creates more stress and makes things more difficult. Next story. You want to help, then create an environment for men equal to that of everyone else instead of dwelling on the doings of long dead people and putting men separate and last. The thing about equality is that everyone is equal regardless of gender, sexuality and age, etc. People want to know what can be done to help, but when they know, it just gets buried again. It's easier to just not bring it up so we don't face all the BS and drama about how hard everyone else has it as if we live in golden castles. Too many people see the world through decades-old rose-tinted glasses. Things need to change. Next story. I think a big part of it is a sense of purpose. Increasingly, the work we do doesn't produce such apparent results. For instance, a man used to go into the woods and hunt an animal. It was very difficult, but when he came home with meat, his family could eat and everyone was thankful that they aren't eating soup again. Everyone loves dad. But today, a man might go into the office, input some data, crunch some numbers, sign some paperwork. But what is he doing? Does his wife and kids appreciate it? Not as much. And it's not just work. Men used to mow their lawn, change their oil, repair things around the house, etc., but now all of that stuff is hired out to others. The result is that they don't feel useful or appreciated. And if they aren't useful, what is their purpose? It's kind of like generating versus consuming content. If you sit and watch YouTube all day every day, you will start to feel like a pretty worthless piece of crap. But if you create YouTube videos, you would feel like you're doing something. Like you have a purpose. That applies to life in general. People are increasingly consuming more and creating less. I have noticed that when I start to feel down and depressed, it's because of this. It's usually when I haven't had any little wins in my life and I have just been kind of floating through and going through the motions. If I let that go for too long, I could see how it could lead to deep dark depression. So what can we do? Women, show your men affection and appreciation. Even if they don't do much good, at least show appreciation for the little good they do to motivate them to do better and grow. And men, do something. Help out around the house, fix something, draw something, do something nice for your partner or your kids, learn another language, learn a musical instrument, build something. Just be productive and try to limit the time you are consuming TV, video games, browsing the internet, reading fiction, social media, etc. You'll feel much more accomplished and healthy when you have more to offer the world, those around you, and yourself. Next story. US-centric response. So many responses are around supposed cultural insistence that men be tough or stoic. But over the last few decades there has been a huge cultural push to make it okay for men to be sensitive and share feelings. An American male is way more encouraged to express his feelings than he was in 2000, or 1990, or 1980. Has this correlated to a decrease in the male suicide rate? Is there an objective increase? Or is this all perception based on increased information availability? Real questions. Next story. Man here, with mental health experience. Here's a few things that would help. No financial barriers to therapy. It's a net benefit to everyone if taxes are spent on free access to therapy. Even in my country of Canada, I couldn't afford $150 an hour for therapy when I was suicidal. Early education in personality psychology. There should be a course starting in 9th grade about the Big 5 personality model and how your idiosyncrasies as a person contribute to your mental health. Big change when I learned about this at the age of 30. Stop with the patriarchy and man-hating nonsense. Most men are not in the 1%. It sucks when you're told you oppress people just by existing. Like, dude, I'm $500 away from being homeless and have no friends. What the F are you even talking about? Encourage positive male role models. We need good, wise, strong father figures to instill positive masculinity in our boys and young men so they don't fall prey to the dark side of masculinity. Father figures matter. There's so much to say, but that's all I've got. Next story. An uncle-in-law shot himself to death this week. The guy was screaming for help and threatening to do it for days. He was 48. What are the options? If I was dealing with heavy depression and just wanted to talk to someone, where do I go? I've sought independent counselors and they usually turn out to be nutcases themselves. Seems like this just adds to the overall feeling of hopelessness. Next story. Both genders receive an awful lot of unfairness. It seems to me that it's semi-universally embraced to try to correct unfairness against women, but don't you dare speak out against unfairness to men. I was talking to my wife the other day about something I noticed at work. I'm a not conventionally attractive guy, and through the couple years I worked at this job, I noticed that all of the single younger women were somewhat cold to me. One word answers, not smiling, that kind of thing. I am monogamous and was happily taken this whole time. I never said anything even slightly flirtatious. Just tried to have general chit-chat while I fixed their computers. Suddenly, after getting married, which was announced to everyone at work, all of these women were willing to speak to and be friendly back to me. I mean, all of them. It caught me off guard. They ask me questions now. We have actual conversations. Complete 180 degrees. My wife and I think this is because they were trying to avoid friendliness so I wouldn't hit on them, as they've likely had experiences with that kind of thing in the past. Can we all agree that this paradigm is a problem for both genders? I met my wife in high school. I was one of the lucky ones. Imagine being a less than attractive guy without a partner, and the only available women literally refused to talk to you, through no fault of your own. I was 100% workspace etiquette appropriate and was still met with that response, so isn't always an issue of the guy being creepy or forward. No wonder so many guys get depressed, or so many go down the dark road of red pill crap. It doesn't matter how much of a good personality you have if they don't treat you like a person. I realize loneliness is only one of many causes of male suicides, but I'm ultra empathetic. Next story. Don't expect men to be manly. We have worries, we have fears just like anyone else. Sometimes we don't want sex, we just want someone to hold us and tell us everything is going to be okay. The modern world shouldn't expect someone to be anything other than a contributing member of society, be it any way. Men like power and feeling looked up to, but like women and children, we need someone to love us and someone we can fall back onto. When a man, or even a woman is shutting people out and isolating themselves, they need your love the most. I know this will get buried, but I hope someone can take something from this.